And we're back with another episode.
And you have your hair down.
I know.
I feel like this is maybe the first episode with your hair down.
Yeah, I washed it today.
First episode with clean hair.
First one.
Really?
Probably, yeah, since we started doing video.
Really?
Yeah.
So it's a big deal that it's down.
Yeah, it's definitely a big deal.
What's the occasion?
It was just like really bad from training. You know, it sucks when I'm in camp. I like never get to do my hair. And then sometimes I wash it and then I did it. I was like, oh my God, I actually do have like kind of cute hair.
So you're happier when it's like that?
Oh my God, so much happier. But then all I think is like when I wash my hair and I actually like blow dry it, it's because I have so much hair. It's so much work. So when I do it, all I keep thinking about is tomorrow morning I'm sparring. So there's really no point. It's like a waste of doing your hair. Because literally in a few hours, we're going to record. I'm going to go to bed and I'm going to wake up and put like a headgear on and then I'm going to wrestle.
And then it's like literally like tied into your headgear, right?
Yeah, it gets stuck in the Velcro. It's disgusting. It's on the mat. So it's like every day I'm like, well, what's the point of like doing it if it's another day?
Well, you could just let it go to like just a dreadlock.
I always low-key wanted dreadlocks.
Really?
Yeah. Like, you know, sometimes you see like the surfer girls, like the blonde ones with the dreadlocks, like long. I've always wanted to. When I competed in like jiu-jitsu as a blue belt, there was this one girl, and I think now she's like a black belt, like really, I don't know her name, but it was like a Brazilian girl, I think, and she used like a white girl, blonde hair, and she had dreadlocks, and I was so jealous of her. I was like, I want them so bad.
Well, just stop washing your hair.
Yeah. Sometimes I get close to it, but I pull out. No.
That's a commitment.
No, it's a commitment. You have to like know how to take care of them too. And then it's like, for me, I think I would have them and be like, okay, I'm over it. And it's not like just go to the hair salon and fix it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's too much of a commitment.
Too much of a commitment.
Yeah. Maybe I could get like fake.
You won't probably have to like shave your head to get rid of it.
Probably.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
they like are heavy. They weigh. So it's a lot of work. I'm not ready for that.
I think that's a good idea.
I'll keep it in my dreams.
Yeah.
But I'm so happy, and I just want to thank you before, but I want to thank you again for making me the happiest girl in the world this holiday season.
Christmas lights?
You put up Christmas lights for us.
Well, I arranged Christmas lights to be put up for us.
Yes.
I didn't put up anything.
Well, you got it done.
I got it done, yeah. But I mean, I don't know how to do that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just so happy. Like, I've always wanted Christmas lights, and I just thought, I came to terms like we'll never be a house with Christmas lights, and that's fine. The inside of our house is like a giant Christmas ball. You know, we have like, how many Christmas trees do you think we have in the house?
5.
Yeah, 5, and then like 6. And that's great, but I was just like, whatever, we'll never have Christmas lights outside, and you did it.
I did it. I did it for you. I just wanted you to be happy.
And I'm so happy. I just love Christmas lights. And the thing is, the two houses, like on both sides of us, have Christmas lights. So it makes like our house look even darker.
And they have nice ones too.
Oh yeah, really, really nice ones. But I remember I saw like 2 years ago, I was like, oh, they, you know, the landscaping, the people that come do the landscaping, they also provide a service where they can come to your house. They put up the Christmas lights and then they take them down and they store them for you. And I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. We should do that. It was so expensive. I looked it up and I figured like, okay, because you're buying the lights the first year, and then, you know, they're storing it, taking it up. And I figured it would be like, you know, kind of expensive, but it was like 10 times more expensive. I think it was like for like the basic, just the lining around the house was like close to like $3,000, $3 or $4,000.
Yeah, that's a lot.
And it wasn't even, I'm like, if you're paying like $3 or $4,000,
but if your Christmas is your thing, it's kind of worth it, right?
Yeah. But now you know how to do it, so you can do it every year, right?
Yeah.
So I'm really happy about that. I don't want to be the house.
I'm already kind of like annoyed about taking them down.
That's why you
have to get somebody to take them down for me, because I'm not going to be able to do it.
Yeah.
So it's hard to get someone to come to your house. I've been trying to get someone to shrink wrap the boat.
Yeah.
I took the boat out of the water November 17th, and it's December 15th, 14th. And I can't get the guy every day. I text.
Well, we have a boat guy.
He's coming. He says he's coming. He's like, I'll be there Tuesday. And Tuesday comes and goes. I'll be there Thursday. Thursday comes and goes. So to get someone to take down Christmas lights or to wrap the boat, like for whatever reason, it's like insanely difficult.
Yeah. I wish we could everyone could see your text message chain with the boat guy.
Oh my God. Maybe we could add that as a graphic just because it's so funny. Every single day I send him the exact same text.
Copy and paste.
He says, hey, I'll see you tomorrow. I'm going to do it tomorrow.
And you go, okay. And then no shows, no call, nothing. And then he's like, hey, do you think you're going to be able to come this weekend? Yeah, I'll be there Sunday. No show, no call. Then you're like,
it's
hey.
been a month.
Yeah.
And there's probably 8 different exchanges.
Yeah.
The same one, copy and paste.
Well, remember, and this sucks too. We found someone that comes. This is our reliable boat guy. Before this, he was good. Comes, if anything happens, when you take it out of the water, does everything, shrink wraps it, winterizes it. And then one time we used him and our neighbors were like, oh my God, that's amazing. Can we get his number? We want to do something, we want to use him too. Then they told me, and I was like, oh, how was it with the boat? They're like, well, actually we paid him for $500 for our part. And he never texted us back. He never texted us back. We were like, what? And I feel bad because I feel like it's kind of our responsibility because we referred him, but we had no issues. And then I remember last spring he came over to do work on our boat right next to our neighbors. And I'm standing in the kitchen and I can see our neighbor walking out and asking him. He was
always good to us, but now we're kind of
getting that. At least we didn't get ripped off. We haven't paid him for anything. But I remember our neighbor went over and he's just like, yeah, I'll be back Monday. And it just never came. But the guy was confident to be like, I know I ripped these people off, but I'm going to go right in their front yard 2 feet over and work on the other person's boat.
It's funny when people say something like that, like, oh, I'll be there Thursday or Tuesday. They shouldn't say a specific day because Thursday is going to come.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you're there or not, it's coming.
Yeah.
You should be like, oh, I've been really busy. I'll try to get around to it.
Yeah, or I'll try to get there.
Specific day, then even if you come the very next day, you fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's just crazy how difficult it is to get good help.
Yeah, I'm it's not free. We're paying them. It's we want to pay someone to do it, and we can't.
It's tough.
It's really tough.
So we'll get into the fights. Usually we pick 4 fights to talk about.
Yeah, usually the main card.
Every single fight, I thought on the early prelims, the prelims, the main card, they were if the main card was the early prelims, I would have been happy.
Yeah.
It was amazing. Every fight I was really into. And I felt for whatever reason, there was a lot of high level grappling.
Mm-hmm.
More so than, a lot of cards.
Yeah. Especially the undercard.
4 or 5 really cool, grappling finishes.
Mm-hmm.
First one was, girl you're familiar with, Gillian Roberts versus Priscila.
Yeah.
Gillian got another finish.
Yep.
The most finishes in the weight class.
Most finishes. And I didn't know until someone told me this yesterday. She just tied me for the most wins in the division.
Most wins in the division and the most finishes.
Well, she got the most finishes.
She has the most finishes. So I just don't understand how someone could get that many fights against unranked opponents because how come she doesn't get moved up?
Well, because I think when she does get moved up, she usually loses that fight and then goes I think when she fought Macy Barber, she got stopped by her.
Well, Macy Barber's not ranked either though.
No, but that was but Macy Barber's a step above the girls she's fighting. As far as in the rankings.
I really think there's something to be said for that though. There's something to be said for the win 2, lose 1, win 3, lose 1. Every time you get bumped up, because then you never really jump tiers. Mm-hmm. And you could really pile up some wins and finishes against lower level opponents.
You can kind of fight more often too, because you have more options of opponents.
You're in, I think, the toughest position right now.
Yeah.
You have to rerun it with the number 3 ranked girl.
Right. I can't fight either of those 2 girls.
No.
Yeah,
it's such an unusual position, but it almost rewards mediocrity. But I guess you really don't move up on the pay scale if it's like that.
But if you're winning 2 or 3 and losing 1, you're probably not getting cut.
Probably not.
So, realistically for that, I think it's the people that win 2, lose 1. Because if you're winning 3,
well, that's a different division in the UFC. It's there's people who are they're always just, roster guys.
Yes.
Not never ranked, but in the UFC forever. Like, one of a friend of mine was like that, like Gian Vellante.
Mm-hmm.
He was in the UFC for years and years and years, but it was always like win 2, lose 1, win 2, lose 1, win 1, lose 2. Like, but that back and forth for so long. But I mean, I'm sure he made decent amount of money.
And then it's nice. Yeah. You went in volume with just fights.
Volume. Yeah.
And then you have the opportunity to fight. You get a couple fights where it's a little outmatched and you're able to get like exciting finishes, which builds a fan base. So for me, I don't have any finishes, but I've also only ever fought top 10. I'm sure if I fought Priscila, it would be a little bit easier to get a finish than fighting, Andrade or Jennifer Maia.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's just kind of
that, like, I don't give a ton of like credence to the people with the finishes against lower level opponents. And I think Gillian's a great fighter.
Yeah.
But just in general, I don't give a lot of like credence to someone who beats like a lower level opponent. Like, I would rather you win a split decision against a top 5 opponent. Like, that's more impressive to me.
So like, the Dominick Cruz, you could say, for a perfect example, the Dominick Cruz win is more impressive than the Sean O'Malley
Oh
win.
my God. No comparison for me.
But I think most like common fans don't think that way.
But because I think
they think of just that moment and that fight, and they just want to see a finish. They don't necessarily care who it is.
I think it comes from like when I was a wrestler. Like, if you wrestled someone like the first round of the US Open, who was just like, maybe like a college kid or just someone who just entered the tournament, not really someone like on the like Olympic ladder, like you wouldn't be like happy with that match. You wouldn't be happy with that win. It was just like someone you have to beat along the way. Right. Like I'd be like, well, of course I beat him. He sucked. Like, he was not good. But then when you beat like, a ranked guy, then you would count those wins like that. If you win the semifinals against the 3 seed, you're happy about that. You remember that. But any of those other ones are like just kind of filler. Like, I always put credence into like winning at a higher level than dominating at a lower level. Right. Where I think the general fan just sees the domination.
Of course.
Like, Sean O'Malley finishes everyone.
Yeah.
But okay, now go fight Merab.
That's why I think sometimes like someone like him is a big fan favorite, and a lot of like fighters don't like it because they're like, well, they're so literal about it. They don't see fighters don't see the entertainment part of it. They just see like the facts. And, what I mean? They're just like, well, he hasn't fought anyone. So what do you mean? Why is he so famous? And like, I kind of get both, but it's kind of tough. Like, even I think it's great that like, cause then when someone like her fights, it just builds up the division.
Right.
But you know what I mean? Like, when you're saying like constantly, like, she's got the most finishes in the thing. She's never fought a top 10 opponent. Right. I don't even know if she's ever fought a top 15.
Give Valentina her schedule. Valentina, like a lot of times she goes to like Liz Caramouche and Jennifer Maia. There are 5 rounds. She wins, dominates, but
well, you could say Gillian stopped this girl in the first round. Valentina didn't stop her in the first round. She stopped her in like the second or third. It doesn't work like that. But fans don't always understand that.
Yeah, it's just an interesting thing. But she, for whatever reason, falls in that category where like you never climb the ladder, but you get a lot of like great finishes.
Right.
But it's an interesting career path.
And she fights very often, which is amazing.
And that's always good. I always think that's the right thing to do.
She's not like the win 1, lose 1, win 1, lose. No. She's more like win 3, lose 1. She definitely has been racking up a lot of wins.
Yeah, she has. The next fight I want to talk about was Ryan Hall versus Minner. I don't know, is it Minner or Minor?
Well, I still haven't seen this fight because I was driving home and you were like telling me about it. But
I thought it was such a fun fight. It was so strategic. It was just like so impressive when someone can implement like a really unusual style or game plan and get to positions that he's really good at and find a way to win. Because I mean, he really doesn't have any takedowns. Like, he's a jiu-jitsu ground fighter, but he has no takedowns.
Right.
And he really has no striking, but he just kind of just rolls around and like finds ways to get in an entanglement. And the only thing that was really impressive was he had several like locked in, like inside heel hooks and outside heel hooks, 50-50. But the guy was pretty good at like getting the lock, the triangle below his knee line.
Okay.
So they kept saying, oh, the knee line. And because once you get it below the knee line, you really, you're not going to get submitted. But I was impressed that this guy was able to defend those because he had a good bite on a few of them. But he found a way to, come up on top on the scrambles. Like he had him mounted the entire third round. He had him in a crucifix at one point. He had several triangles because like it really, I guess I didn't know. I thought Ryan Hall was mostly just like a 50-50 leg lock guy. He's like incredible at everything.
Yeah,
his triangles are amazing. His like passing, his mount. But it was just so impressive. And like just how tough you are to eat all those punches because he has no footwork, no head movement, no defense. He's just eating punches and then finds a way into.
Yeah, I remember like not this fight, the fights before. I was like, oh, he kind of has like good karate style kicks though. But I don't know if he did any of that really. Like he has a good side kick. And I was surprised that he has like good side kicks for some, you know what I mean? Because it's like kind of specific.
Well, it was funny because he does do kicks a lot. And I think one of the reasons is some people are afraid to throw kicks because when you throw a kick, you're kind of susceptible to be taken down, right? Like someone might catch your kick, they might time it, So he throws a lot of kicks, I think, with the hope that they'll catch it and try to take him down. Like he almost like feeds him his leg.
Yeah.
And if the guy doesn't catch it, he's still, he's scoring with that, like little kicks. But I think he's hoping he catches it, then he scrambles into,
He's such a weird case because his jiu-jitsu is so good that like someone could knock him down and not want to go on top of him. And it's pretty crazy at this level in the UFC. Like now it's not like it was 10 years ago. Everyone's really well-rounded and still everyone's like afraid to even go near the ground with him. And it's crazy to see that. Yeah,
he's such a dangerous fighter. But the only other person who's like that I could think of with that type of submission threat in MMA is like Gary Tonin.
I was just saying that.
But Gary,
or like that Bryce Mitchell.
Yeah, I don't think it's as developed as those two, but like Gary has
I think people don't respect his as much as like Gary and Ryan Hall.
But Gary has takedown threats.
Oh, yeah.
So he's like Ryan Hall's ground ability, but also the ability to take someone down. Like Gary's a really good wrestler.
Yeah. And Gary's striking's definitely way better. I
really think that I hope that Gary comes to the UFC.
Oh my God.
And I hope he drops down to 145. And
I think he will.
I would love to see Gary fight Ryan Hall.
Yeah.
That would be an amazing fight.
That would be.
It'd be such a fun fight to watch.
Yeah.
I think if I could like pick one fight, that's something I would love to see.
Yeah. I love obviously we're like friends with Gary Tonin and we like him a lot, but like his style, like jiu-jitsu, I think everyone likes it just because it's so entertaining and he's so like go, creating all different scrambles.
But he can attack the legs as good or better than Ryan Hall.
Yeah. And but to see him and like the way he picked up, like I remember seeing him start doing striking at Henzo's and I was like, oh my God. Like, first day one, hands up. I was like, oh, he's never going to learn how to, he just can't do it. He just doesn't have that athletic ability. And he fucking like spars every single day.
He's a good striker now.
He spars every day. And then like out of nowhere, it wasn't even that long. I was like, oh, he does some cool stuff. Like I could learn some things from him. We bounce like ideas off of each other and stuff. So yeah, I hope that, I think he has a lot of like fights left in one and I think he's doing it the right way by taking his turn, but he's not getting easy people at one.
Well, it sucks because one keeps canceling their fights. So I'm sure he would have finished the contract if COVID never happened.
Right.
He was fighting like 4 times the first year.
Yeah, you're right.
If COVID didn't happen, I bet that one contract would have been expired and he'd probably be in the UFC.
Yeah.
So now it just keeps getting pushed back. But yeah, very impressive win by Ryan Hall. I can't wait to see who he fights next.
I'm sure a lot of guys don't want to fight him.
Yeah.
I bet you a lot of guys turn that fight down.
Yeah, it's scary.
Yeah. It's just such a weird person. It's hard to train for that,
Yeah. Next fight was Erin Blanchfield, one of your training partners, versus Miranda Maverick. Another super impressive jiu-jitsu ground fighting. It was just like beautiful takedowns. She had an inside trip, couple body locks, good mat returns, and then her passing is great.
Yeah, her top pressure, like her I've trained with her for years now. It's funny when she was like a kid. So when I was in college, I always trained until college at Tiger Schulman's, and I worked at a Tiger Schulman's in college in New Jersey, and her brother, I mean, they were like kids. They trained at the one I did, and I would like give her private lessons for like kickboxing. I mean, she was probably like 10 years old, and I was in college. Yeah, so it's interesting. And then I remember after that, then seeing her at Henzo's and stuff, I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. She was like in high school.
And then you guys sparred together for tons of time.
Yeah. So it's just the evolution that I was like, oh my God. Like I remember when we first started training at Henzo's, I kind of was like, oh, like I still thought of her as like a kid. And I was like, oh, here, like, let's go. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh no, she's not like, well, she still was a kid, but her level was good. Right. I mean, she won EBI at like 16. No one really knew who she was. They were just like, wait, who's this girl? Like, because she's so quiet. No one knows. She kind of just trains in a little gym. Like, I mean, she trains in Jersey. She doesn't ever come to like Nick Catone. She just trains in her little gym. And she's, I always said, I'm like, she's good. But I got to the point I was like, oh no, she's not like a little girl. She's like a really good training partner for me. Yeah, she's a great training partner. And then we've been sparring over the last year together, and I was like, oh, she's gonna be really good. Like she could beat before her last Invicta fight, when I was sparring her, I was like, she could beat most girls in the UFC right now, and she's only 22.
Yeah, it was funny because I don't bet on fights. So we've talked about this several times, but I was really close to breaking my rule because I was like, she came in as an underdog,
which was insane.
And I was like, she's gonna I was shocked she didn't finish her actually, because I thought she was gonna finish her pretty quick, just because Maverick. I mean, you could say she didn't lose, but she lost to Macy Barber, and Macy Barber is does not have Erin Blanchfield skills.
I bet, and so
they're not even close.
Yeah, Macy Barber was supposed to fight Erin Blanchfield and got pulled out, so Maverick was the replacement. Macy Barber was watching that fight like, oh. Okay, glad I didn't take that fight, and I'm not going to take it again.
I think that I think now, because that girl was like ranked, I think like 13th or 14th. They
might put her in there.
I think now she might have to fight
like between like 15 and 10 type of person.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. And I think the only thing
who's that girl? Farrow? Oh no, she's playing Jessica though.
Yeah, that would be a good fight. I would
like to see that fight.
Yeah, maybe.
But I mean, I think Erin's running through all these girls up until you get into like Lauren Murphy, Jennifer Maia. They're they have better like takedown defense. Those are harder matchups. But pretty much anyone else, I can't really see them.
The crazy thing first, she's like 22, so she like obviously is so young. But the girls division, it's tough because when you're that dominant and there's like not as many as the guys, it's like, all right, now she just beat Maverick, who is probably like 13th, and you're up, and it's like 2 more fights, you're in the top 10. It's like she has
2 more would be good. If she got 2 more outside the top 10, I think her next one could be a top 10.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
It depends how fast she wants to go.
Yeah. I think for her, I mean, she has the ability to compete with the top. I think she should do it a little as slow as she can. I think everyone should go as slow as they can, unless they're like 37.
She probably has a 4-fight contract. So she has 1 more fight before they redo it. So you'd want that to be like maybe someone not in the top 10 yet. Yes. And then when you redo it, you get another 3 really good wins in a row. Then maybe your second contract, as long as you're getting paid good, the top 10 are worth it. People don't think about that.
I don't think when
you shouldn't fight a top 10 opponent on your first contract like you did.
Yeah.
You fought 3 or 4 top 10 opponents on your first contract.
At a weight class above.
Right. So then you're stuck in the top 10, but you fought those guys, or you fought Liz Carmouche for 10 and 10.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Of course. But that's something that like when you're new into the UFC,
you think like, oh, I'm the best already.
You're like, oh, I just want to fight higher. I want to fight higher. I want the next ranked person. And you think it's almost like, the UFC offers you someone, you're like, they like me. They're offering me this. They're like, well, yeah, because they're like, I could have you be like, pump you up, and I'm paying you, you're getting paid 12 and 12. So have you fight someone in the top 10 rather than.
If you're a top 5 person, you're probably getting paid, 80 and 80.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. So it's like, and the younger people don't get that yet. You don't get it until it's almost too late. You don't understand that. And someone could tell you, but you're not going to like say no, especially if you're, I'm not saying this is in general, not just for her specifically, but if they offered her someone in the top 10, she's like hungry, but it's like, you're trying to like rack up the money, because then once you get there,
They don't usually let you come back down.
Yeah, for sure.
You know,
yeah.
once you break into that.
But it's interesting. I think that I always thought her style of jiu-jitsu is very top heavy pressure, which translates to MMA so well.
With takedowns.
She's
like Khabib.
I've always said that since I started sparring her last year. I'm like, oh, she's the girl version of Khabib. You know,
she's really similar. Her control and her takedowns are very similar to Khabib's.
And there's not really any girls that do that.
Not many.
I would almost argue that her like wrestling is probably the best. Like, I don't really know any other girl that's better.
I think Valentina's is the best in terms of like takedown ability.
Yeah.
I think her takedowns are more explosive, but in terms of like top control, it's probably similar. But Valentina's takedowns are very difficult to stop because she lifts people off her feet. This girl's still dragging
she has the
people
timing.
down.
She has the timing and the explosiveness for Valentina.
Valentina gets people off their feet. If you're off your feet, you're probably going to finish that takedown.
Yeah.
Right?
But I mean, she's better than I think she's definitely better than Sarah McMahon.
Yeah.
Like wrestling and I would say grappling, you know, which is for MMA. So
absolutely. Yeah.
So yeah, it's interesting to see. Definitely even better than say even like Tatiana as good wrestling, but wrestling is different than
Tatiana's
grappling.
Beautiful takedowns, but then really kind of stays in the guard.
Yeah.
You know, she, like her last fight against Nina Ansaraj, she took her down a lot, but then was just in the guard, kind of getting elbowed and stuff. She's not like smashing into
half guard, taking the back, doing all those transitions where
Erin's really doing that.
That would be a fun fight when Tatiana comes back.
Oh my God, I would
to
love
see
that.
Erin versus Tatiana. That would be fun.
I'm sure they will try to keep them separate for a little while.
Yeah.
But hopefully Tatiana comes back. But
yeah,
that would be good. Next fight, again, another like this 3 in a row, amazing jiu-jitsu fighters. Munhoz, is that how you say his name? Munhoz versus Eryk Andrews. The first time I saw him fight was when you fought in Houston, when you fought Viviana in Houston. He fought Cachoeira and he like ran through him, like the most explosive double leg. Then he took his back and then he went over the top and snapped Cachoeira's arm in half, like from armbar from the back. He did the exact same thing to Eryk Andrews.
Yeah.
But when I saw him against Cachoeira, I was like, oh, this dude's really good.
Yeah, to do that to Cachoeira is insane.
Like nothing.
No one was expecting that.
Yeah. But then he did the exact same thing. Eryk Andrews is like a big, strong dude. He's hard to like take down. He like ran him over, most explosive double leg, then did the exact same progression. Like took his back, got on top of his back, fell off the top, armbar, snapped his arm. He's someone who I think will be a UFC champion.
Yeah.
I really do. I feel like
I
saw him early in his career, but I know that sounds crazy. Like,
I don't want to jinx it, but you are very, very good at like seeing people early on and be like, maybe, okay, even if he's not like to the top. You did that with, I think, Dariush.
Yeah.
And before, like, it was early, like years ago, you said that.
Jack Hermanson.
Jack Hermanson. Yeah. Like certain people that aren't maybe.
They're not necessarily champs, but.
I mean, they're in that top, and you kind of see it like for their first like 1 or 2 fights.
I would bet money that if I bet that this guy will be a UFC champion now.
Yeah.
I just think his body type, how big he is, his takedown ability. When you have that type of takedown ability with like insanely high level like submission skills, you're just such a nightmare for anyone. You know, his takedowns are so explosive.
Right.
But he was super, super impressive. But so those 3 fights, or the 4 fights in a row on the early prelims, all like amazing grappling.
Right.
Which was really impressive. I enjoyed it so much. Then next one wasn't really grappling heavy at all. No. It was Tuivasa versus Sakai. Sakai.
I think Tuivasa is like one of my favorite fighters.
He's just fun, right?
I remember, so when I fought in Abu Dhabi last year, you had to go so early for quarantining. So the fight cards were back to back each week. The group of fighters overlapped each other. So I think he was fighting on the card after me. Oh. So you fight at I fought at 3 a.m. Go back, by the time I get to the room and all that, it's over. It's 5, 6 a.m. You can't really go to sleep, and we're leaving, at 1 p.m. So I was like, all right, let's go lay out by the pool. They have like sick pool beds and everything. And when I was like so depressed about my fight, I was like, just wait, let's go to the pool and wait for the bar to open. I need a drink. So we go out there and he was there waiting for the next, fighting the next week. And he was just like laying on a day bed by himself with his like sunglasses on, feet crossed, like hands behind his head, just chilling. And I was like, oh my God, that's the shoey guy. And I was like, it just was so funny because like every other fighter is like worried about adapting to the time difference and sleep schedule, cutting weight, and he was just like chilling by the pool, like how he looks when he celebrates after the fight. Like that's what he looked like. He was just by himself chilling.
Yeah, he seems like a fun guy. I'd like to party with him.
Yeah,
but really like ferocious puncher.
Mm-hmm.
He's like fearless and swings so hard.
Yeah, I mean, just the whole. I mean, how can you not like him?
Yeah, and like they were like just on the way out, he's having like shoey after shoey.
Yeah,
just chugging beers, pouring them out from the stands.
Yeah,
he's so fun.
I love that they let him do that because you're not even like
jump on the cage.
You're not even allowed to jump on the cage. Like they always tell you, all the fighters before, like you're not allowed to jump on the cage. If you jump up top, they're like you get fined by the commission. Now I always wonder because all the chants, like when you win, if they give like an example, okay, if you win a world title, you should be able to sit on top of the cage.
I don't think they always fine them.
Yeah, maybe it's just state to state.
Yeah,
but I like that they let him.
I mean, the UFC should pay his fine because it's such like a fun thing for everyone. It's such a good moment.
The crowd like loves it. Him getting up there, the Steve will do it through his shoe and one of his beers up there and let them do it. And I'm like, that's so cool that they let him do it and stuff because that's such a fan thing. Like the crowd goes insane. They know him from that. That's his thing, and everyone loves it.
I remember when he first came, I was like, I mean, that's stupid. But now that he's good and like wins crazy knockouts all the time, now I think it's so cool.
Yeah,
because I don't like when you're just like a gimmick, but you're not that good. But he's really good. Yeah. He's finishing all these good fighters.
Yeah,
but super impressive. Next, I think it got fight of the night, but for me it was fight of the night for sure. Was Dominick Cruz and Pedro Munhoz.
Yeah, that was fight of the night.
Yeah,
there was a bunch of they did like 8, I think. I don't know the other ones, but I know that was
fight of the night though. The other ones were performance. But Dominick Cruz looked like he did like when he was fighting TJ Dillashaw, like 10 years ago. Yeah, I thought he looked absolutely incredible.
I always like to watch him because
defense.
I'm super into like movement and footwork and all that stuff. So I always like to watch him because I'm always like, oh, maybe like I could pick up on stuff. But his style is.
I was thinking that too. I was like, oh, you should watch him. But then I'm like, wait.
I always think that every time I watch him, I'm like, oh, let me like study his stuff. Maybe I could do that because I'm into like moving like that. And then I watch him like that is so unique for him. I'm like, I can't do that. You know, I move a lot, but I have my own type. But the way he does it is insane.
But one thing that he did, and it reminded me of you though, like you saw a few times where he'd like duck under a punch or like slip a punch and the guy like huge misses, like swinging, like really,
he punches
really missing.
As he goes under.
Yeah, but the guy was missing so much, like just like make him look stupid, like almost like spinning him around.
And that takes a lot of energy out of you.
But you're one of the only fighters, and you see it in boxing, but you're one of the only MMA fighters who I noticed that slips punches and rolls under punches and where they're totally whiffing, like not even like just grazing you, right? They're like totally whiffing. And he did that like 3 or 4 times, and like Pedro Munhoz swings so hard and he was like falling down almost. And
it looks better for the judges than if it's just a punch that like hits your gloves and you just kind of parry it with it. Like when I do that, I don't do it to make it look, but it does work. It's like, and then that person swings so hard and they miss and they feel, because I know what that's like too. You throw a punch and it swings and misses like that, or you throw a kick, it's almost like, oh, that looked bad. So you're hesitant to do it again. If you just pump a jab out, it doesn't hit them. You're like, okay, well, the risk wasn't really there. But when you throw like a wild overhand and it totally misses, then you're also like, wow, I could have got countered really bad. My hands dropped. It looks bad. It takes a lot of energy out of you. And then it like the person kind of slows down and they feel silly. At first, they'll come back harder because they're like, wait, I just missed. I got to go back harder. And then eventually they always slow down.
Well, because then they start like loading up even more.
And then they're looking for you, trying to catch you. And then that doesn't work.
Right. because going into that fight, I thought that Cruz was going to need to take Munhoz down
Me
to
too.
beat him. I thought he'd have to score like, his knee pick and his double leg. I thought he was going to have to win with takedowns. I didn't think he was going to be able to outstrike him, but he completely outstruck him.
Yeah.
He was like landing so many like jabs and like 1-2 combinations.
I thought that Munhoz, I can't say it, was I was like, oh, Dominick Cruz moves around a lot and he has such a like vicious calf kick. I'm like, he's gonna try to calf, but he moves so much that he like couldn't get the kick.
Right.
You
Like
know?
Pedro Munhoz, I remember when he fought Jimmy Rivera. We watched that
Yeah.
closely because we're friends with Jimmy. But he did that calf kick
Mhm.
like 100 times. I was like, oh man, because if he does that Dominick Cruz, you take Dominick Cruz's movement out of it.
Of course.
He's a different fighter. But he couldn't even at all. I don't think he could hit one calf kick.
Yeah.
Because he's moving just so much, right?
And then I thought it was the interesting too, like, the referee let that fight go. Dominick Cruz got dropped a couple times in the beginning,
Right.
let it go. And, it's just interesting because, like, his last fight, he was arguing that he thought he got stopped too soon. He goes, that's how I fight. He goes, I get dropped, but I'm not out of it. And it kind of happened in this fight. I mean, it all depends.
Yeah.
I don't think he got dropped as bad as the Cejudo fight, but
he said something about that in an interview, and I saw that Henry already commented back. He was, he's like, you're lucky you got saved.
Man, Henry Cejudo stays on social media just commenting on every fighter, everything, any fighter, even no matter what weight class it is. He must just watch like every fight. I mean, I do too, but just on his phone, just comments to every single person.
Yeah, he does.
And it's like, wait, you're retired,
Yeah.
Would
He's like the least retired fighter.
Yeah. He doesn't even like pretend to be retired
No.
for a little bit.
No.
Do you think he fights
Yeah,
again?
100%.
Yeah.
But then we had the main card, O'Malley and Paiva. Yeah, Paiva. Obviously O'Malley looked amazing, but it's kind of like we talked about. It's, I really like O'Malley. I think he's super talented. He's fun. He's cool. Really high level striking, but I'm ready for him to step up the competition because I think he's really good. Like I want to see him fight Dominick Cruz or, Merab, Rob Font. I'd like to see him fight one of those guys.
I've heard him say it before. He doesn't want to fight higher level people until he's getting paid more, which we talked about before, which I think is great.
So pay him more.
But I mean,
he's a draw. Maybe they don't want though. Maybe because if he loses, then he's not a draw. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, his contract's probably.
He's had at least 5 UFC fights, right?
Yeah, maybe after Contender Series, maybe sign like a 6-fight contract. You know what I mean? Who knows? But it's like one of those things. I think he's really good, and people are like, he hasn't fought anyone. No, he hasn't.
But the skills are there.
I think his skills are there. He's really good. I'm like, I want to see. I think I wouldn't be surprised if he fought someone higher level and still kept the same, output, but you don't know until you see it. And now I'm like, okay, I want to see it.
I want to see it.
I want him to be good too. I like him a lot. I'm a huge fan. I want
him to be the champion.
Yeah, me too. I think I think he just seems cool. I like him. And I think he's like such a nice guy. He's not even like people are like, I don't know why people hate on him a lot. I think it's, you know what it is? I think
it's jealous.
I think that's what it is.
Why aren't I popular?
Because fans love him, but like every fighter and like person that trains is like, I can't stand him. I'm like, why? He doesn't even like talk shit.
Not really, right?
He's very like respectful and all that, but I think he's great for the sport. I mean, he definitely brings a lot like of celebrities to the sport. He
does. He's like a celebrity kind of like without fighting.
Yeah.
Right? He's almost like an Instagram person or a YouTuber, like
the Tekashi 6ix9ine and Steve will do
all
it. They're all friends.
Yeah.
So like those guys going and being huge fans of UFC.
That's a big deal.
You know what I mean? That's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy how influential those people are.
Yeah.
It's wild. But yeah, super impressed with his win. Hopefully I want to see him fight someone a little higher ranked.
Mm-hmm.
But then we had Cody Garbrandt versus Cara France.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's how you say it. I don't know. That guy looked really impressive. I felt bad. I wanted Cody to win, but
the one thing, yeah, it's tough because I'm friends with Cody. He trains sometimes in Jersey. I really like him, and it's tough. You don't want to see that. I will say from like what my personal opinion with some people were like, oh, it's that weight cut. I don't think it was the weight cut. He's a small, really, really small 35er. He didn't cut that much weight to make 25. So I don't think that
I don't think it was the weight cut.
Yeah, I mean, he was getting knocked out at 35. So, it just sucks. I don't know what that is. When people start, usually when that happens to people, they're a little bit older. He's not at that age yet where it's like,
I have a theory, like, but I think he's incredible. Like, he's, UFC champion at a really young age, dominated Dominick Cruz, like super impressive. But I think one thing that he had was like supreme confidence. Like before he fought Dominick Cruz, he was like, just like outrageously confident, like cocky almost.
Mm-hmm.
And I think was a big thing. Like he went in there knowing he was going to knock everyone out. He was so confident, like a swagger about him. Then I think you take a couple bad losses, and I think right now, his confidence is a little shook. If he gets that back, if he could get, because I don't think his chin is gone. I don't really believe that.
Yeah,
I think it's like a confidence thing. If
I don't really understand.
I could see him like beating anyone at that weight class.
Yeah,
I still think he could.
I don't understand like how that works, so I can't say. It's so easy for people to be like, he's got no chin. It's like, well, I mean, 2 fights ago, he did the same thing to who did he do that? Was that me?
Asensu.
Yes. So he knocked him out. So he still has that was at 135. He has knockout power. So it's tough. Does that mean it's done? He's so young, so I don't know. That's
why I don't think it's done. I think take a little
maybe
time
it's more of like a confidence thing. And if you're going from going into a fight being like, I know if I land a good shot, I'm knocking this person out, to going, if I get hit, will I get knocked out?
Right.
That's
difference.
The total opposite ends of the spectrum.
Big difference.
And, I don't know, but then it's like, what do? You take time off. Okay, well, you still got to go in that fight, and you're still going to be wondering if it's going to happen again. Because that might not happen in sparring, Right. I don't know. I don't understand that. I've never been rocked or like knocked. I've never been, knock on wood, never been like knocked out, or not even like rocked where like a TKO where I don't know what's going on. I mean,
I think everyone handles them differently. Like when Gregor got knocked out, he got like a horrible, horrible knockout, but his headspace was always, he's like, well, I got caught. Like anyone could get knocked out.
Yeah, which is very true.
He's like, if I lost like a decision where the guy took me down and like held me down and like, just beat me all 5 rounds, I would feel like terrible. Like that guy's better than me. But some people are, I don't know if they lie to themselves or they could convince themselves like, well, I got caught. I'm the same fighter. I just got caught.
Yeah, maybe it's a little like a half glass full type of thing, And I agree with that too. It doesn't matter, like, if you just get, and it's funny because when you talk about other people that get knocked out and they're like, oh, I got caught. You're like, oh, well, they're not really taking, what's it called? Like, they're not acknowledging what's happening. They're making an excuse, but it doesn't matter. It's all mind. You got to trick your mind. And that's one thing, like we talked about this earlier. Like the one thing I think I'm like really good at is like, I can like lie to myself about something and then like pathological liar to myself and tell my brain to think something. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, but I think I can, like, if something's like not good for me, I can tell myself like that's not good, and I can be like, I can't think about that, and I will 100% not think about that.
I've said it now. I mean, we've been together a long time, but I've said it forever. I was like, you have the strongest mind of anyone I've ever, any athlete, any person, anyone. You've like, it's crazy.
I don't think it's like a strong, I almost think it's like a little bit of a disability where I'm like, not that I have no emotions, because I definitely do.
Well, you are like caring and loving and you have emotion, but sometimes it's like you're just cold blooded, like nothing phases you.
I think I could just tell myself like, whatever, like, can't think about this. I'm over it. Like,
but you're happy, right?
I'm so happy. Okay. I'm like the happiest girl in the world. But yeah, I think that it's easy to say because it hasn't happened. If I got like, knocked out back. If I got knocked out, I feel like I would just do the same thing kind of Gregor, be like, oh, I got caught, whatever. But if you're thinking, I hope it doesn't happen again. I think if I thought that, I wouldn't fight again.
Right.
Because I would know I'm thinking this, it's not gonna then it's gonna happen again.
Until you don't fight until you get that out of your head.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It could happen again, but not is it going to happen again where you're questioning it.
Because of course anyone could I know it could happen. Everyone can get knocked out. I'm not like thinking that it can't happen, but you just it's like it's a weird thing where how like your mind is such an important part of fighting that you can't train. I mean, I think people get sports psychologists all the time. I'm like, I don't know. I've said it before. I think if you need a sports psychologist, that's a problem that can't be fixed. I think at the end of the line, maybe you can,
I don't know about that.
Manage it a little, but that's just me because I think I'm someone that I'm like, I can tell myself you need to do this and I'll do it, or don't think about that and I won't think about it.
But you're different.
Yeah.
You're different.
So I only know that way. So I think if someone else needs to tell you that, like, you can't do it.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, hopefully he bounces back.
Yeah.
But then the next fight, Julianna Pena, Amanda Nunes.
I mean, obviously it was like the craziest thing that's happened. I think this was like the craziest thing since Holly Holm Ronda Rousey fight, pretty much.
Yeah. But Julianna Pena going into that fight though, everyone pretends to be confident all the time, but you could tell that she really was completely fearless and 100% believed that she was going to win.
Yeah, and so I agree with that. I definitely thought that without a doubt, everything she's saying is 100% how she feels.
She wasn't putting on
She
front.
Genuinely thinks, before the fight, that Amanda Nunes is afraid to fight her.
Yeah, yeah.
And she said that, like, when she said that, she wasn't just saying it. She goes, no.
I remember laughing. I was like, what do you mean afraid to fight you?
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
But I was like, whether it's right or wrong, or maybe there's a little screw loose or something at that point. I'm like, she definitely believes that.
Yeah.
She thinks that. And I'm not saying that got into Amanda Nunes' head at all. I don't think it did. I think what happened was she just got caught and then was like couldn't recover. I think she got fucked up, and the pressure and the pace they put, that she just kept coming, she couldn't handle that.
There's two things that I thought happened. I thought Amanda looked really good in the first round, and she was had her against the ropes, was about to hurt her, but then they got into a grappling exchange. And I think that girl is a strong person on the ground, and she used a lot more energy than she thought she was going to have to. Like even when Pena had the Kimura, she was in bottom half guard, and she had a Kimura locked in, and it wasn't like a close like to submitting or even sweeping her, but you could tell that Amanda had to like fight that.
Yes.
For like 30 seconds of fighting, like don't let my arm get ripped off. Like she was really like straining. Then I think after that first round, fighting that grappling exchange took a little bit off her punches, and Julianna Pena just stood there. Was like, all right, we're going to swing until one of us falls.
Well, and it was interesting after the first round, Pena's corner said to her, they're like, all right, this is the fight we wanted.
Yeah, this is exactly what we wanted.
Because she was getting kind of pieced up on standing in the first round, then got teeped in the stomach. She fell down. And then Amanda Nunes went in, and then she just grabbed the single leg and she wanted a grappling match, but and then she started grappling with her, and even though she was on bottom, she was like staying in there. She wasn't getting like submitted or anything like that.
She's needed that grappling exchanges to
almost like even out the strength there. Because I thought it's funny when this fight got booked, I was like, ooh, this is interesting. I'm like, not necessarily that I was like, oh, Pena could win this, but I was like, ooh, this is good. This is like she's tough, and she's not gonna, I thought Amanda Nunes isn't gonna be able to like bully her around as much as other people. Now, did I think she was gonna win? No, but I thought it was gonna be more of a scrap for Amanda than her previous fights. But then as it got closer, I think I just was like kind of forgot that was my original feeling, and then I was just like, oh, there's no chance she's gonna win. But I was like, she's gonna be tough. She's really tough. But I just thought Pena was gonna be too small for her. I thought she's gonna want to grapple her and stuff, and Amanda Nunes is just such a physical freak that I was like, she's just gonna get outpowered with the punches and even in the grappling exchanges. And it was a complete opposite. I mean, I saw when me and Julianna Pena did like a signing together over the summer, like she's like the same size as me, if not maybe a tiny bit smaller. So I was like thinking, I'm like, oh, she's gonna fight Amanda Nunes? I was like, because I've seen Amanda Nunes too, and she's a big, strong girl. She's not like a big girl that's like fat. She's like
big, wide back.
Like she looks like a man. Even you can see it when she throws her punches. I don't think that Amanda's striking is like technical, like super like I don't think there's anything crazy about it. She doesn't really move her head. She doesn't have footwork. She's not like slick. I think she has good clean punches, but when she punches, it looks totally different than when any other girl throws a punch. Even Valentina has more of a speed pop. Like Amanda, when she throws a punch, the only time you see someone
straight punches
hit like that is a man. Like her punches. So I didn't think that Julianna, I thought that would like, you know, be the factor in her winning, but in the coming right out in the second round, Julianna Pena landed one jab, and remember we all looked at each other like, whoa, that was a really good jab. And then it seemed like all those punches, the jabs, and then she stood there and they just traded for 2 minutes. Yeah, because I knew it wasn't going past that round. One of them didn't know who was winning, but you knew it was. Yeah, that was crazy. And you know what I mean. I think that even after Julianna Pena, you know, she said like the whole like, I'm not surprised, motherfucker. She definitely was not. No. I mean, I think she was obviously ecstatic to win, but she was not surprised. That's what she thought she was going to win. So she wasn't like, oh my God, I can't believe that happened.
So there was one headline that I saw. I actually saw it today, and I didn't read the article, but the headline said, the headline was just, Julianna Pena says that she's the first mom champ because she actually gave birth to her baby. Mm-hmm. I would imagine that Amanda Nunes didn't like that. And probably most people didn't like that. Yeah. But what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I just kind of, for my first reaction, maybe this is me not being a mother, I was like, oh, that was a little unnecessary. It was a little rude. But then I was like, I mean, I kind of get what she's saying, because when you don't think of like when guy fighters have a kid, you're not like, oh my God, dad champ. You're just like, I mean, it's not really the same.
Because I think the whole like point of mom champ was like, I was able to give birth, which is potentially like it's 9 months out of fighting, like probably like basically like a surgery, a recovery, you know, breastfeeding, all those like biological and like
coming back changes, to the top of the level,
and then you come back to the very, very top, do the hardest thing you could possibly do in sports. I think that it is a little different. Like, I'm not saying that she's any more of a mother. Amanda Nunes is probably like, obviously a great mom. She like brings her baby everywhere, and they like look really cute together. She's probably a great mom, but to give birth and then like within 2 years, she's a UFC champion. Yeah, that's incredible.
It's crazy. Yeah, and I don't know if like they really talked about Amanda Nunes that much as like mom champ. I don't remember really hearing that about her. I remember hearing it.
So they used to say that about Karate Hottie. I remember used to always say she was going to be mom champ.
She kind of like was the one that started that phrase or whatever. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's very impressive to do that,
because it was within 2 years. I think. Right?
Yeah. She's only had since giving birth. That was probably her third fight since giving birth, I think.
Yeah, really impressive.
But and I almost feel bad like saying this because I don't want to like be a bitch, and it's obvious to say it after because of how the results ended. But if you look at, this is one thing that kind of bothers me, is some of the girls now that have babies, when they glamorize it so much, which it should be, it's a crazy accomplishment. But I don't think that the warm-up room is a place to have your baby. I don't think the warm-up room is a place to have your significant other unless they're cornering you, you know, unless they're a part of your camp. I remember when Amanda Nunes' wife fought, she fought Mackenzie Dern, and it was like 3 months after she gave birth. All UFC kept posting was her holding the baby all week long. She had her hands wrapped, sitting on the warm-up mat in the locker room, playing with the baby. And the UFC was like, up next, her. And I'm like, and she got like fucked up. Yeah. Now I'm not saying that's why you get fucked up, because she could have won, and then you'd be like, oh, whatever. It's
maybe
great.
She's fighting. Relaxes me. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Everyone's different. It's not for me either, but it is what.
But if you saw Amanda Nunes they showed the clips on Instagram of her walking into the arena. She gets off the bus. Her and her wife, they're taking the stroller out. They're unfolding it. They're holding the baby's hand, walking in. You're walking in for a world title and you're worried about like a stroller and your baby.
Well, I think her she's not worried about anything. She's, I think she's just, I'm unbeatable.
Yeah.
That's probably what which is, she
probably did it for other
everywhere.
fights and it worked. So it's like, you know what I mean? It's easy for me to say this because of how the results happen. But Julianna Pena's daughter was there, but she was not, when they showed her walking into the arena, the daughter wasn't there. She had headphones in, stone cold face walking in. She looked like she was ready to go in for a world title fight.
Yeah.
I just think, and like you said, everyone's totally different. Maybe people want their family there for relaxing and stuff. I can't imagine having like a baby or like in a warm-up room for a world title fight or any fight.
Right.
But I don't know. Like I said, if Amanda could have went in there and knocked her out first round, I mean, she almost did. And you wouldn't even think of that.
And she always has,
Yeah. But
so, yeah. But great fight. Then
they'll do a rematch for that, obviously.
You would think, unless Nunes says like, I don't want to go back down to 35.
I don't
the weight
think
cut.
so.
I don't. Maybe. I mean, who knows?
Yeah, I think they'll do the rematch,
especially if Kayla Harrison comes to the UFC,
mm-hmm.
and then they build the Nunes and Harrison, because then she'd have, you know what I mean, fight Kayla Harrison, then go back down to 35. I think, I would be surprised if Pena's next fight was Nunes. I think that they will do that rematch, but I don't think it'll be an immediate rematch.
Maybe Valentina, because I think Valentina beat Pena before.
She did. But
I don't know. Valentina doesn't really ever
I don't think she cares to go up, because if she didn't go up, she never wanted to go up to fight Amanda, which I think she would.
Well, she lost to Amanda twice.
Yeah, but I think she
beat
probably wanted
Pena
to get
once.
that win, though.
I mean, I don't think she did.
No. Well,
I mean,
no, obviously she didn't.
Yeah. So I wonder if she'll go up now, maybe to fight Pena.
Well, then it would look like she was ducking Amanda,
I mean,
I think that,
yeah, you're right. I didn't think about that.
I think that Pena will not fight Nunes next. I think Nunes will go up to 45 for a bit, and I could see Kayla Harrison coming in and fighting Amanda next. And then, that's 8 months from now.
Yeah.
Then it would be another 8 months. It would be a year and a half before she fought Julianna Pena, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I could be wrong.
Yeah.
But that's what I think, especially if Kayla signs with UFC.
Right.
Which I think she probably is going to.
I feel like she's going to do another whole season with PFL.
Really?
Why not?
Yeah, you're right.
She's making way more money there.
Yeah, they'd have to give her a pretty fat contract.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't think UFC will do that.
They'd have to give her
or they might do what they did with Cyborg. I don't think Cyborg had I think Cyborg kind of only had a 3-fight contract type of thing.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Who knows? Then we had Charles Oliveira, Dustin Poirer.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing fight, as short as it was.
Yeah. I think that I was going back and forth with who was going to win. And then after I was like, wait, why did I think Poirier was going to win? It was one of those fights,
See, right before the fight, again, I don't bet on fights. So if you don't bet, then you really didn't know who was going to win. But before the fight, we had some friends over, and I just said Charles is going to win.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason that I thought that he was going to win was because, the whole time prior to that, I thought that Dustin was going to win. But then I thought about it more, and the reason I was so high on Dustin, and everyone was so high on Dustin, was his last 2 wins. He looked fantastic against Conor 2 times in a row, finished him,
Mm-hmm.
looked amazing. And I just think that Conor is not a top 10 guy anymore at 155.
Right.
So it's he beat 2 guys that are, outside the top 10 in a row.
Right.
Where Charles Oliveira only fought the very, 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 very best guys for, decades. He didn't have 2 years of fighting not top 10
super
guys.
fights, yeah.
No super fights. Charles Oliveira just fought every single person in the division
mm-hmm.
for all that time. So I think he was a little sharper, a little more well-rounded,
mm-hmm.
to full fight.
Has seen more higher level things.
Yeah, he's seen higher level things where
and more well-rounded opponents. Whereas Conor,
Dustin fought they're boxing fights,
yes.
kickboxing fights with Conor.
And
really. Dustin
has amazing boxing. So if him going against the strikers of, different for him.
It was one thing I was really impressed with was Dustin's power, though.
Yeah.
He cracks.
Yeah.
He hurt him so many times.
Mm-hmm.
But Charles Oliviera, just like Muniz or Erin Blanchfield, is a spectacular jiu-jitsu person with high-level takedowns.
Yeah.
He could take people down. When he gets to the body like that,
Mm-hmm.
his body lock is spectacular.
Yeah, his knees were really good too.
Knees
He
are
throws
really good.
everything. We were when we were watching, we were saying like it doesn't matter where he is, he'll throw something. He throws. He's not like, you can't say he's a boxer, he's a grappler, he's a wrestler. He's like the definition of MMA.
Yeah.
If he has someone and he's pushed on their head, he'll throw an elbow, he'll throw a knee, he'll do this.
That standing knee, or just pull up
yes,
knee.
yeah. He threw everything.
I just I think that his ability to take someone down, though, like I didn't know that. Like I knew he was so good at submissions for all those years, but I thought he was more like a tricky guard.
Right.
Like good chokes off a tricky guard, triangles, stuff like that. But I didn't know he was like a dynamic, explosive wrestler. Like I didn't know that until he fought Tony.
Yes.
Because then when he took Ferguson down like 10 times.
Yeah, no one else. Who else is doing that? You know,
and all like body locks.
Yeah.
Like really impressive. But I didn't know that. I thought he was like a tricky guard guy.
Mm-hmm.
But he's not. He's a top player, wrestler.
Yeah.
But it was incredible jiu-jitsu.
So and then what do you think about him and Justin Gaethje?
I mean, I think that Gaethje will have a hard time with him.
I think so too.
Unless Gaethje gets his wrestling, like if he really works his wrestling, he's got to go back to that. But against Khabib, he didn't look like he had a ton of answers on the ground. And I think that Oliveira has got to be as good.
Right.
Maybe not at the takedowns, but once he's on top, I'm sure he's probably better.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I think Justin's really got to not get taken down.
Yeah.
Because if he gets taken down, it'll be pretty quick, I think.
Right.
But I could see Oliveira beating Gaethje, then eventually fighting Islam.
That would be fun.
And if he beat Islam, I would really like that. I would like him to beat Gaethje, then beat Islam, and then fight Khabib.
Do you think Khabib would come back for that?
I mean, to get like revenge
in like a year?
It would be like probably a year and a half, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. But I think it would be really cool.
Yeah.
Because he's the only guy that Khabib never fought him.
Right,
you
right.
know? Within that division, Khabib beat everyone else, really, you know? But Oliveira, he'd be like, well, I was better. I just didn't fight him. Especially if he fucked up Islam. I mean, he's got to beat Gaethje, then it's so much. But
right. That would be fun.
Yeah. He's really impressive, though.
So our dream fights are Khabib and Oliveira and Ryan Hall, Gary Tonin.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I would love that. Yeah. On the same card.
Same card.
Yeah. But yeah, so that was really good card. This weekend is a good card also, but we'll talk about that next week. But we got Jake Paul's rematch. Yeah, touch on that.
This sucks so bad that Woodley's doing it. Like, why? I just wish they would just extend the Jake Paul fight. The Jake Paul and Fury fight. Like, they would just postpone it.
Yeah.
Cause it's like, I don't know. And now we just saw that fight.
Saw it.
And like now Woodley's taking the rematch on short notice.
Right.
So it's like he definitely wasn't training boxing since the last. I bet you Woodley wasn't doing that much training since the last time we fought him. And then like 4 weeks out gets the call that he's gonna do that. 3.
I think less than that.
Yeah, maybe 3 weeks out. Like.
Yeah, this is like probably the least exciting Jake Paul fight.
Am I gonna watch it? Absolutely.
It's on the table that I'll be at the Jake Paul fight.
Yeah.
So that would be fun to talk about next week if I, in fact, do go. But it looks like I'm going.
Yeah.
So I'll be there with like the TikTokers and YouTube people.
Some people ask me what I'm doing this weekend. I can be like, nothing. My husband's hanging out with TikTokers at the Jake Paul fight.
I need like an outfit, I feel like.
Yeah.
Like something like flashy.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's like an event.
Yeah.
Those are like different than like
you need a whole Balenciaga outfit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Like a complicated shirt with a lot of colors and patterns.
Yeah. You need chunky sneakers. Like
definitely
chunky like neon yellow Balenciaga sneakers.
Couple chains for sure.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
Maybe even a pair of fake glasses.
Fake glasses?
Yeah. Oh wait, you actually have glasses.
Oh yeah, I have glasses.
You actually, but you don't know where they are.
No.
You have the worst eyesight.
Yeah. Terrible.
Yeah. Well, we'll
I have
see.
good ears though. I got my hearing checked today.
You do?
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
Really good. But yeah, so there's that fight, and then the other fight on that card is Amanda Seriano's fighting again.
Yeah.
Your girl.
She never wants to spar me. Always wanted it. For years I've been wanting to spar her. She just wasn't really interested in it because she's in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Or Brooklyn or Bronx, whatever. She's in New York, and I've like been begging to spar with her for like years. Well, now I stopped asking because they just would say no. Yeah. But yeah, she's fighting someone, I don't know who. But basically, she's always kind of like the co-main event for the Jake Paul. She's really, really, really.
She is really good.
She's like a legit boxer, and I guess there's her, and then there's another girl, Katie Taylor, who just won. I think she's like 20-0. So the whole thing is, it's like with boxing, there's always like two people, and they're really good. They keep them separate. So the whole thing is maybe, after this fight, then she fights Katie Taylor. So like, it's kind of like not interested in either of their fights. If they fight each other, then it's like everyone's interested. So hopefully that happens after this fight.
Yeah. I hope that if I go to the fight, I don't have to watch like
any fights
other than the last fight.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because that would be really tough for me to like sit through. I don't think people do that though. Boxing is different. Like,
yeah.
No, the stadium's empty until the last fight. Right?
For sure. Yeah.
No one can watch two boxing fights in a row, right? No one in the world.
No.
I don't think.
No. You're not like sitting.
Like, do the commentators even do the undercard?
Yes.
How do they do that?
I have no idea.
They
love it.
Sitting through 3 boxing fights?
No.
Has anyone ever watched 2 boxing fights in a row? Like a co-main and then a main?
Yeah.
That seems insane to me.
Yeah. Or like, how like people at UFC, like UFC, I
watched 13 fights in a row.
Yeah. And we kind of, we could have done more.
Yeah. I love every second of it. But a boxing fight.
I don't know if I've ever watched a boxing fight.
You'd have to pay me to watch 2 boxing fights in a row.
Yeah.
It'd be really hard.
Especially if they're like 12 rounds.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, why are we still doing 12 rounds? Let's just do like 6 and get it over with.
Yeah. I think even 6 is a lot.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, 6 is a lot.
First 2 off.
Yeah, no matter what, they're taking some off. So it's like, all right, maybe we just do 4.
I think 3 is perfect.
Yeah.
Right?
3 and then like
4, you can't have 4 because then it's 2-2, right?
Yeah.
If, split. It has to be an odd number, and 5's too many for boxing.
Or I
think it should be 3
same as UFC.
Rounds.
2 minutes.
Yeah, just a sprint.
Okay. Yeah.
Then I would watch boxing.
Kyle's Combat League.
Yeah. But anything else?
No, that's pretty good. We wrapped up a lot of fight talk, but obviously for the UFC 269 was pretty much like an epic card. So a lot of stuff to go over for that.
My favorite card, I think. I say that all the time. Recency bias. That's what that's called.
Yeah.
But yeah, hopefully if you guys are still watching all the way to the end, please subscribe to the YouTube. And give us a review.
Rank, review, subscribe, do all that stuff. Show us some love. We appreciate it. And we'll talk to you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.